students, we have studied about pollination. All of us are very clear now what is pollination, what are the types and what are the agents that are involved in pollination. Now we know that in pollination agents are involved, different agents are involved for pollination. Now this pollination does not guarantee us that always the right pollen will fall on the right stigma. That means always the compatible pollen will not fall on the compatible stigma. So that is no guarantee. Why? Because if you take biotic agents, for example honeybees, honeybee visits all types of flowers. It does not distinguish between one species and another species, and therefore there are chances that pollen grain from other species may land upon in another species stigma, and therefore thus it results in the transfer of wrong pollen on the wrong stigma. And how does this happen? And how does the stigma know that whether it is right pollen or wrong pollen? Now during this pollination, either through wind or through biotic agents, when the pollen grains come and fall on the stigma will be able to recognize and see whether it is right pollen or wrong pollen. If it is wrong pollen, then the stigma will reject that pollen, and if it is right pollen, and then pollen will be accepted. Now this acceptance or rejection of pollen will be because of the chemical components that are present in the pollen grain, and therefore the stigma will recognize and say if the pollen grain is compatible with the stigma, it will accept, otherwise it will reject. It is like there is something on stigma, there are some receptors, let's say, and if it does not match with the pollen grain, then it is a wrong pollen grain, and therefore it says I don't want you. It says you do not belong here, and therefore go away. So that is what called as acceptance or rejection of pollen grain. Now in this session what we are going to study is pollen pistil interaction. That means once the pollen grain falls on the stigma, what are the possible things that may happen? As I said, first of all, the first thing that happens is the recognition of pollen grain by the stigma, and then acceptance or rejection. These two things will happen. Once the pollen is accepted by the stigma, then the next process takes place. Now when the pollen grain is accepted by the stigma, then pollen grain will start germinating. Now before we look into what is this germination of pollen grain, you must remember the structure of pollen grains. I hope you remember that we have studied the structure of pollen grain long back. And just to recall, this pollen grain has got exine and intine, two walls, and it will have vegetative cell and generative cell. And this exine wall will have a chemical called as sporopollenin. And I have told you that this sporopollenin is present everywhere except in one place, and that particular place is called as the germ pore. Let's say here it is a germ pore. Now when the pollen is accepted by the stigma, pollen tube is produced through this germ pore. Through this germ pore, pollen grain is produced. So this much you should know. Now, as we already studied, in pollen grain, when the flowers are ready with the pollen grain can be shed at two stages, either at a two-celled stage or three-celled stage. So we already studied this, what is two-celled stage and three-celled stage. Two-celled means it is like this. The pollen grain will have one vegetative cell and one generative cell. Whereas three-celled stage means pollen grain will have one vegetative cell and two generative cells. In other words, it will have two male gametes. Now let's take it for granted that what is going to germinate on the stigma is two-celled stage, pollen grain. Now once the stigma recognizes the pollen grain, the germination begins. Let's imagine this is the style stigma and ovary, and inside the ovary we have the ovule. Will have two covering, and then it will have a embryo sac, and this is the micropyle region here, and we have upper three cells, lower three cells, and center one. And here also we have in this synergids, two synergids and one egg cell. One egg cell is there, and in the synergids there is something called filiform apparatus. So this is just a revision. Now once the pollen has fallen here on the stigma and it is accepted by the stigma, pollen tube starts to grow from the germ tube. So once the pollen tube is ready, it will start growing inside the style. So it starts growing through the style. So during this, what happens? This tube nucleus or the vegetative cell will help in the production of this pollen tube. And on the way, this generative cell, that is a male gamete, gets divided and it produces two male gametes. It is on the way, on its way to ovary. On the way, the generative cell will produce two male gametes, and they are carried again through the pollen tube, and it comes near the micropylar region, and then this pollen tube will enter through the filiform apparatus to one of the synergids, and then through the synergids it will finally go to the egg cell. So the path is from the stigma, pollen tube is produced from the pollen grain, and it starts growing through the style. On its way to ovary, in two-celled stage pollen grain, the generative cell, that is a male gamete, will divide and produce two male gametes. And these two male gametes are carried by the pollen tube, and when it reaches the micropyle region here of the ovule, the filiform apparatus which are present in the synergid cells, they will direct this pollen tube to one of the synergid cells, and through the synergid cell the pollen tube will enter into egg cell, and later on it will release two male gametes. Now the path of this pollen grain from the stigma through the style and to the ovary, this entire thing is called as pollen pistil interaction. Okay, this is what we should know. And therefore, through this what we can learn? We can come to know that the compatibility of pollen grain. We will come to know whether a pollen grain is accepted by the stigma or rejected by the stigma. Now, this knowledge is very helpful for the plant breeders. Now, if we know which pollen grain is accepted by stigma, then the plant breeders, that means let's say they are farmers, they can make use of this knowledge to get the hybrids or the crop that is required, the crop that is desired, and therefore this knowledge can be used for our own purpose. This pollen pistil interaction. To sum up, pollen pistil interaction means the processes that are taking place from the time pollen is accepted by the stigma, and then all the way the traveling of this entire pollen tube along with the male gametes up till the ovule is called as pollen pistil interaction. Pollen pistil interaction. Now this happens naturally on the plants, that means in the flower. Now if you want to study the germination of pollen grain, how can we do? You will study in the practicals. It is very simple. What you have to do is, you have to take the pollen grain of any plant. We have here hibiscus, or you can take pea plant, or even as China rose, it is a hibiscus, or any other Inca rose also we can take, the common flowers that we find. You can collect the pollen from here, collect the pollen from this plant, and then in the lab you can prepare 10% sucrose solution. Okay, 10% sucrose solution you prepare, and from there you take 1 or 2 drops of sucrose solution and put it on the glass slide, and then onto that glass slide you transfer the pollen that you have collected, either from one of these flowers, and then put the cover slip and leave it for some time. After some time, what happens, you can see under the microscope through this pollen grain the germination of pollen tube. So this is how you can come to know, study the growth of pollen grain. This actually happens on the stigma. For our study, we can also experiment it in our labs. So this is what called as pollen pistil interaction. So you should recall to mind when you are studying this, the pollen grain structure, and what is 2-celled and 3-celled pollen, and then what is the procedure of producing pollen tube from the pollen grain, and then what happens on the way, the procedure that you should know. So this entire process from the stigma, the pollen grain traveling to ovule or the ovary, that entire thing is called as a pollen pistil interaction. I hope it is clear to you. The pollen pistil interaction that we have already studied, the pollen pistil interaction, the knowledge of this process is useful in a crop improvement program to improve the quality of the crop and to get the desired crop. In this crop improvement program, the one of the methods that we use is artificial hybridization. Hybridization is nothing but it is the bringing of the fusion of male and female gamete. Now here artificial hybridization means the hybridization is not taking place naturally, but human beings are responsible in bringing pollen grain and the egg together by human means, and therefore it is called as artificial hybridization. How does this take place? In artificial hybridization, in a female flower, let's say a female plant has got parent has got bisexual flower. It means you should know what is bisexual flower. Bisexual flower means it has got both anther and pistil. It has got anther and pistil. That means both male and female reproductive organs are present in bisexual flower. In order to get this artificial hybridization, I have to remove this male part. That means I have to remove the anther. Why I am removing? So that I can bring and dust the pollen grain of the plant which I want. That means the quality of crop whichever I desire, that particular qualities of pollen grain, if I come and dust it on the stigma, and then that male gamete will fuse with the egg and it will produce a progeny of desired one. And therefore to do that, I must make sure that the pollen grain of this flower will not fall on this. To do that, I have to remove this anther. So the removal of the male part the male organ is called as emasculation. Is called as emasculation. Masculine we know refers to male. Emasculation without, that means the flower is going to have only pistil, because we are going to remove the anther. Why we are removing anther? To avoid the pollen grain of this anther to fall on this flower. So once we remove this anther, there are chances that the pollen grain may come from other flowers of undesired ones, and therefore in order to protect that, the pistil is covered by polythene bag or the paper bag, and therefore that process of covering this emasculated flower is called as bagging. It is like putting inside the bag. It is very simple. Therefore, first in artificial hybridization, the first process is called as emasculation. That is, in a bisexual flower, I remove the male part. Once I have removed the male part, I have to cover the stigma with the polythene or paper cover. Why I am covering this? To make sure that no other pollen grain will come and fall on this. Then how will the pollination happens? How will the fertilization happens? Fertilization happens because whenever I want, when the pollen grains of my desired characters are ready, I am going to bring those pollen grains, remove the cover, dust it on the stigma, and again cover it. So that what happens? The desired pollen grains are landed on the stigma, and then we get fertilization happens, and then we get seed, and from seed we get new plant which will produce good yield. And therefore these two processes, that is emasculation and bagging, are involved in artificial hybridization. Why do we do artificial hybridization? Because we want to get a good crop, either large amount of grains, maybe one character, or disease resistant plants we may require, or in case of fruits, maybe fleshy fruits we require, or tasty fruits. Therefore there are so many varieties, characters that we can choose, and then we can get the yield that is desired from us. And therefore this entire process is called as artificial hybridization.